Hello, I'm your host, Tim Martin II, and this is my co-host,
Tony Martin.
and this is the TM2 Sports Report. And today, we're talking about why NBA teams should be weary of rigging for Wiggins. Alright, so, and I am referring to Andrew Wiggins, who has been a big disappointment to me this season. He was supposed to take the NCAA by storm. He was supposed to be the next Michael Jordan, who, by the way, wasn't the best player on that North Carolina team. And basically, he was supposed to dominate at Kansas. However, in Bill Self's offense, he has only averaged 14 points a game. While it appears that his teammates almost shun him in not passing him the ball sometimes, I feel that he has to be more aggressive and call for the ball. His teammate Joel Embiid, a big-time center, going to be a top 5 pick in this year's draft. I saw him today calling for the ball on the block, demanding his teammates to give him the ball. While Wiggins, on the other hand, who is supposed to be the number 1 overall pick in the entire NBA draft, was coasting on the perimeter. Now, last time I checked, Wiggins is a 30% three-point shooter and should not be in the three-point area in any occasion. Now, he did make one versus Colorado to begin the game, but obviously they lost it, so obviously he wasn't enough. He needs to get to the hoop. I mean, Wiggins is a passive person, and that's going to be his downfall. If he does not become more aggressive by the time he gets into the NBA, it's going to take a couple of years for him to pan out. I'm telling that to all those NBA GMs are out there right now. And in the meantime, his counterpart, Jabari Parker, who was once called the next LeBron James by Sports Illustrated, is balling out at Duke. So he's looking bad from all angles. What do you think about this, Tony?
Well, your heart is made of ice, first of all. I think Andrew Wiggins could play a little better, but he's doing better than it. The only person he's not doing better than is Jabari Parker. That's what I think.
The only person. Have you heard of Julius Randle? Another.
Have you heard of me?
Julius Randle is going to be a top 3 pick in this NBA draft. Wiggins, while only averaging 14 points a game, is going to be the number 1 pick based on potential. Now, last time I checked, drafting based on potential alone has not panned out well for NBA teams. Look at what's happened to the Detroit Pistons due to drafting on potential. I mean, for all we know, Wiggins could just be another blimp in the sky. He's just going to be gone in a flash. But we're going to move on to a new, more interesting, maybe to you, topic. And it's going to be Paul George and Kevin Durant. Which one would you rather start your franchise with?
Kevin Durant.
Why?
Because he led the season with scoring last year.
No, he didn't. That was Carmelo Anthony.
He almost.
Well, in his defense, Durant came very close of leading the league in scoring, and also he was in the 90-50-40 club, which is very impressive considering Larry Bird is the only one that has ever come close besides Durant to lead the league in scoring and being in that special club. However, in Paul George's case, he's a very good defender. A couple of years ago, before he was proclaimed superstar, he was a defensive stopper, and he pretty much shut down Dwayne Wade for a good amount of time in a series versus the Pacers. I don't remember which year, but yeah. And also, now Paul George has a perimeter game as well as a jump shot, and he's turning into a skinny version of LeBron James in a way where he can pass. Not as good as Kevin Durant, though, according to the stats. He can defend and he can score. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
Let me guess, you weren't listening.
Trying to get skinny.
In Durant's case, though, I do think that Paul George has more help. Interestingly, because at one point Kevin Durant had maybe the most help in the league, excluding LeBron. Because right now Paul has Rory Hibbert, Lance Stevenson, George Hill, Louis Scola, and I could just go on and on. While Kevin Durant has Russell Westbrook,
Serge Ibaka.
Steve Adams, maybe, and as he said, Serge Ibaka. All right, so now that we're done with that segment of our show, we're gonna move on to a bit of a draft prospect. AJ McCarron, Tom Brady comparison. That's what NFL scout feels. What do you think about that?
All I can say is, if Drew Bledsoe never got hurt, Brady would have probably gotten traded and been with Jackson. Imagine that.
Oh yeah, imagine that. However, I recently read a book, The Coach's Life or something like that. But the book's title doesn't matter. I'll get back to you on that. But the point of the matter is, it was an autobiography. Well, it was a biography. I don't know.
Can I read it?
Yeah, sure. About Bill Belichick, the education of a coach. And in the book, it stated that they knew Tom Brady was a talented player. He was a hard worker. When he got into New England, studying the tape, always. And when he first came to the Patriots, he didn't have great arm strength. However, he developed that over time. And I could see that being a similar situation for AJ McCarron if he ends up in Cleveland or even possibly St. Louis if they get rid of Sam Bradford, because Cleveland has the defense to carry them right now after gaining Arizona's former defensive coordinator. And also, if they can utilize the quick passes, slant, screen passes, maybe they might throw a deep pass to Josh Gordon every now and then, very similar to what they did with Brian Hoyer. Utilize Jordan Cameron before Brian Hoyer tore his ACL. And he could be successful in that type of an offense. However, I don't think anyone has enough tape on AJ McCarron right now to give you an actual telling of what he will be due to the dominant offensive line that Alabama has, because he's obviously not going to have 5 starters that are going to be in the NFL. Well, obviously they're all going to be starting, but they're not going to be Alabama talent level while playing for the Cleveland Browns or any other team that he ends up in. What do you think of that, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then what do you think if he ends up in Cleveland? What do you think they should do with Brian Hoyer, who really played well while he was healthy? Unfortunately, he tore his ACL running. Yeah, it happens.
What I think they should do is trade Brian Hoyer for Brock Osweiler, because Brock Osweiler can't even run. So, like, it's basically going to be like RG3. You need to learn how to slide.
Okay.
And Brock Osweiler can't run. I'll be like, oh, grandma.
So basically, Brock won't have to learn how to slide?
No,
Oh, that's nice.
less work. And plus, he's been with the Denver Broncos. He's been learning from Peyton Manning, so yeah.
Interestingly enough, if you trade Brian Hoyer for Brock Osweiler, Brian Hoyer would end up under the tutor of Peyton Manning, and that would put him under 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Tom Brady and Peyton Manning over the course of his career. So, Tony, I guess that's all.
What?
here.